Hey there, what's up internet? My name is BlackLightAttack. I'm drinking my goddamn tea, and this is episode 24 of Let's Play Final Fantasy VII. So, last time we met the would-be captain of the Shinra number 26 space rocket named Sid. He is not a happy customer, as we learned in his past. He was supposed to go into space, and due to Shera perhaps over-analyzing some of the safety precautions, maybe being a little bit too cautious, he was unable to go into space without killing Shera in the process, so he sacrificed his dream in order to save one of his workers. She now works for him, apparently just around the house, being miserable and derided all the time. But anyway, this is once again another post-commentary. I believe once we get on to the next episode, we should not have to do these anymore, and the normal live commentary will resume. So, hey, long time no see. So, Sid, how you been? Well, if it ain't Fat Man Palmer, how long were you figuring on keeping me waiting? Oh, it's Palmer. Palmer is the one that we saw in Shinra HQ, who was there when President Shinra was murdered. He was the one that actually saw and confirmed that it was Sephiroth. So, when's the space program starting up? Hey, I don't know. The president's outside. Why don't you talk to him? I don't remember what voice I gave Palmer. So, fuck! Good for nothing, fat fuck! Don't say fat!
Yeah, say fat! Hey, T!
I'm just like changing up.
Hey, can I get you? Loud sugar and honey, and don't forget the line.
Anyway, I do a terrible Cartman impression. He's the fat guy, so. Anyway, so he wants some tea too, I guess, but I doubt he's gonna get any, because he's Palmer and absolutely nobody likes him. Even the people who work for Shinra don't like Palmer. And Palmer doesn't seem to recognize us. We were there when the president was murdered, so maybe he was a little bit too traumatized to take note of who he was talking to. But he seems to have recovered. Anyway, what the? You got me all excited for nothing? And what'd you come here for? I went to borrow the tiny Bronco. Blah, blah, blah. Stutter some more. We're going after Sephiroth, but it seems he's been heading in the wrong direction. But now we seem to know where he's headed. But we have to cross the ocean. That's why we want your plane. Fuck! First the airship, then the rocket, now the tiny Bronco. Shinra took outer space from me, and now you want to take the sky away from me too? Oh my, you seem to forget that it was because of Shinra that you were able to fly in the first place. What? So now we find out that the airship we saw in Junyuan Harbor once belonged to Sid, apparently. And all he's got left to his name is the tiny Bronco, that little ship we saw in the backyard. But yeah, we did want to use the tiny Bronco, yep. I believe Palmer's going to take it. Why don't you talk to him? Oh shit, Palmer's about to jack this shit in the backyard. And I always like that there's just like an AK-47 just sitting in Sid's house, just for some reason. Just like, yeah, why not? I mean, I guess they did give him the whole southern accent, but I don't know, are AK-47s that common in the South? I know people in the South love their guns, but why do I have to do this? I'm the head of the space program. He's so fat. He's just like sitting meditatively on the wing, looking out into the horizon. We'll be taking that tiny Bronco. They've seen you somewhere before. I know, the Shinra building, where the president was killed. Oh! Security! And you actually get to fight Palmer. I don't know why they decided this guy should be able to fight, but we're actually going to try to use the Power Soul in this battle. And just to show, I mean, I have my limit breaks. I could very easily kill Palmer, but right off the bat, he fires his Mako gun and kills Tifa. So already we're at a bad start. And I forgot, when you're using the Power Soul method, you really want to set your active time battle method to wait, because that way when you're scrolling, when enemies are taking their attacks, and when you're scrolling through the menu and trying to decide what your action is going to be, the countdown timer on Death Sentence stops. And that's really important, because otherwise you're going to see, like, these attack animations are going on, and Tifa's timer is still ticking down, so she's actually going to die again to Death Sentence. Oh, and of course I missed my first hit. Of course. But anyway, we gotta get the big guard up so that hopefully Tifa will be able to live a hit from Palmer's Mako gun. Palmer's really not a difficult fight, and that's why I'm taking the time to just kind of goof off and let Tifa do some damage. And I mean, if you're gonna take this fight seriously, I mean, look at that. That's the kind of shit you can do with Power Soul. Even at this level, we're doing 2,000 damage, but Tifa got to do one attack, and she's already gonna die to Death Sentence. So yeah, definitely want that ATB weight style. Anyway, Palmer's not a difficult fight. He casts like a kind of variety of different elements from his Mako gun. And because they're all magic spells, they target random characters, so using cover materia doesn't help. Cover cannot block magic attacks. But anyway, I think we're going to use Finishing Touch here. I doubt this kills him, because Finishing Touch on a boss that's immune to death is just going to deal a good chunk of damage. Meteor Rain would have been the better option here, but again, I'm just kind of goofing off in this fight. He's not terribly hard. As long as you can keep up M Barrier if you have it, that'll definitely help. All of his attacks are magical in nature. And I don't know, if you're really looking for some damage, like I said in the last video, you can equip the added effect Seal Materia to your weapon. Whoever you put that on will do some extra damage, and he takes extra damage from Bio as well. Usually human enemies are weak to poison, so. And he always gets his head chopped off by the tiny Bronco, which is starting up for some reason. Yeah, and then, oh, he's gonna escape. Raffle JK. One of the best bosses. One of the best ends to any boss fight. He tries to run away and gets fucking nailed by a truck. What a truck is doing driving in Sid's backyard, I will never know. But who cares? It's just one of those things. So we're gonna get the Eden coat, which is pretty useful. Bangle, anyway. But now the tiny Bronco's starting up. It won't stop. Oh shit, goddamn. Forget it, get in! And now Vince has got to do an epic leap, because we're bringing Vincent along today. Oh, Jesus! I can't control it! We're gonna crash into the rocket! No! Okay, well, we're going around the rocket. Just kidding. Oh, shit. We're about to take to the skies, motherfucker. We finally got us a ship. This thing, I don't know how this is supposed to... This is like a one-person aircraft. I don't know how we're supposed to carry the party around reliably. And yeah, we can sit on the wings, so that seems pretty dangerous. Oh, God! That one Shinra grunt. Oh my God, that guy puts out a lot of lead by himself. Well, it's a good thing Sid is kind of a Dragoon type, because otherwise he never would have made that jump. That was a crazy jump. Oh, man. Ride that. Shit, the tail's been hit! Oh, God. And there's also electricity coursing through Sid's balls. Emergency landing. This is gonna be a big splash. Hold on to your drawers and don't piss in them. I always love that line. Sid has a lot of great lines. He's just one of those characters who just spits out gold all the time because he doesn't give a shit what he says. He doesn't give a shit about anybody, and he's just... Well, I mean, he does, but he has his own way of showing it. Anyway, Sid is one of my favorite characters in this game. And we are going to start talking to him now. She won't fly anymore. Can't we use it as a boat? Yeah, that's exactly what it was made for, Cloud. Shit, do whatever you want. Sid, what are you going to do now? I'm going to hang out here for a while. Don't know, I'm history with the Shinra, and I've given up on the town. How about your wife? How about Shara? Wife, don't make me laugh. Just thinking about marrying her gives me the chills. What are you guys going to do? We're going after a guy who killed everybody. We're going after a man named Sephiroth. We'll have to get Rufus of the Shinra someday, too. Are you pissed off enough at him to kill him? I don't know anything about that. What the hell? Sign me up. How about it, everybody? Tifa's like, yeah, yeah, of course. I don't think Vincent gives a shit. He's not saying anything. Glad to be aboard, numbskulls. Numbskulls? Yeah, anyone stupid enough to go up against Shinra nowadays gotta be a numbskull. I like it. That's my band. So where are we headed? Rufus is going after Sephiroth towards the Temple of the Ancients. That's not very helpful. Really, where is it? That Temple of the Ancients. ... If I want to keep going anytime soon. I'm not playing this live, so I don't know when I continue the dialogue. Dunno, that numbskull kid was telling me he was headed the wrong direction, so maybe it's off this way. Let's just head for land and get some information. Temple of the Ancients, that name bothers me. Well, yeah, it should, because Aerith is an ancient, and how can they have a temple when Aerith is the last one? Well, Aerith. I keep saying Aerith because I've been reading this other... There's a series of novellas that takes place after Final Fantasy VII that Square Enix put out. I'm reading the English translations, and they are all in English. They're actually fairly good. Considering how much I hate pretty much everything else that has ever been put into the compilation of Final Fantasy VII beyond Final Fantasy VII itself, they were a pleasant surprise. I don't recommend reading them until you finish this game, though, because there are a lot of spoilers. Like, the first sentence is going to be a spoiler. Anyway, so with the tiny Bronco shot down and unable to fly, it's actually not a ship. It's not an airship. You don't get an airship until later in the game. In most Final Fantasy games, there's an airship of some kind. But because it's shot down, you can still use its propellers as as motors, as like a boat motor kind of thing, and you're able to use it as a boat. And the Tiny Bronco is able to travel in shallow water and rivers. It cannot handle what's it called? Cannot handle deep water. You don't get a vehicle that can until much later in the game. But so at this point, we're gonna want to start heading for the Temple of the Ancients. But I have some things to take care of first. Once you get the Tiny Bronco, quite a few things actually open up to you. Things that you didn't have the option to do before that you now do. One, you can start heading for Temple of the Ancients, which is the next thing that you can do for the story's sake, to progress the story. And in order to do that, rather than heading directly to the Temple of the Ancients, which you can reach with a Tiny Bronco, but you can't access it without a particular item. In order to get that item, you need to go to the Gold Saucer. So if that's what you want to do, go to the Gold Saucer. You also have the option of doing Yuffie subquest at this point. You can do Yuffie subquest at any point in the game up until you complete the game. But this is the very earliest you can do it. And that's what my next goal is going to be. But before that, I want to head back to the first continent. And in order to do that, I think I actually waste some time here by doing the buggy method. Because I think once you have the Tiny Bronco, you can go back and do this with the Tiny Bronco. I don't think you need the buggy. I could be wrong about that. I'm trying to think. But either way, I know that this is an area that you can access with the buggy. But it takes a little bit, and I'm going to show you guys how to get back here with the buggy if you don't have the Tiny Bronco yet. Now, I think you have to wait until you actually have the Tiny Bronco in order to do this. And what this is we're going to go hit up the man who's sleeping outside Junion. There's a man who sleeps in a cave not far from Junion Harbor, back on the first continent. And he's known as the sleeping man of Junon or whatever. And there are two things you can get from him at this point in the game. The Mithril, which is a key item that can be traded for other items, and a Bolt Ring, which will come in handy when we do Yuffie side quests, as well as just kind of throughout the game. I think the Bolt Ring will nullify all lightning damage you take, and then the Mithril is what we use to trade for Eris's final limit break, Great Gospel. We already have Red 13's final limit break. Then I believe we can get Great Gospel. We could also get Clouds, which is Omni Slash, right about now, because we now have access to a new set of battles at Battle Square in the Gold Saucer. Now, last time we were at the Gold Saucer, we didn't do any of the Battle Square minigame. I didn't even really talk about it, but that's because there's really no point at that point in the game. None of the rewards that are there are very notable. And, I mean, I guess there's some stuff that's okay, but basically, we'll get to that later. That's going to be probably, I guess, 2 episodes from now. But as we see this house coming up here, which is right by the entrance to the Gold Saucer and right by Gongaga Village, that house that it's just off to the right, that's the residence of a guy called the Weapons Trader. I think that's what he's called, the Weapons Trader, and he's the guy that owns Great Gospel. He has Eris's final limit break in his possession. Now, in order to get that, though, like I said, we need the Mithril, and in order to get that, we need to go to the Sleeping Man of Junion. Now, Sleeping Man of Junion, every time you talk to him, he will either say something that makes no sense and doesn't have anything to do with anything, or he will tell you how many times you've run for battle, or he'll tell you how many battles you've been into. What you want is for him to tell you how many battles you've been into, because then you can figure out how to get him to give you items. Whenever the amount of battles you've been into ends in the same number, whenever the last 2 digits are the same, he'll give you an item. And I believe it's if it's an odd number, he'll give you the Mithril, and if it's an even number, he'll give you the Bolt Ring. So you do actually want to go back. You want to go to him, see what the closest double increment is that you can get to. Go outside and fight battles until you get to that double digit increment. Talk to him, and then fight another 11 battles to get the other item. And here we're going to talk about how to reach him and why we didn't go to him earlier. Now, first off, I think he just stays asleep and he won't wake up. If you try to... Oh, no, I'm sorry. You know what it is? You can go to him at any time. I take it back. We're doing the buggy method because even though I do believe, again, we can reach him with the Tiny Bronco, we're doing the buggy method so I can show you guys how exactly to get to him if all you have is the buggy. If you want to visit him before you obtain the Tiny Bronco, obtain the Mithril, and obtain the Bolt Ring, earlier in the game, you can do that. You can do that basically as soon as you get the buggy. What I meant to say is, what I was wrong about is, you can't actually exchange the mithril for Eris's final limit break until you get the tiny Bronco. It's just something written in the game's code, sort of as like a time constraint. Once you get the tiny Bronco, then Eris's final limit break becomes available. So I was wrong about that, excuse me. But here's how you get back to Junian with the buggy. Drive the buggy into Costa del Sol, and you're not going to see that you have it with you. And on top of this, it's not immediately apparent that you can actually talk to the guy outside the ship in Costa del Sol to pay him to go back to Junian. But if you drive the buggy into Costa del Sol, even though it's not visually represented with you, you are considered to have it. And you go to the guy standing outside the ship, who will ask you for 100 gil to be stowaways. I don't know how he manages for only 100 gil to swing stowing away your fucking giant 6-wheel desert buggy, but whatever. You know, I'm not really gonna complain. So you watch the longest cutscene ever while the ship sails across the way, and luckily you don't have to fight any more Genova on this ship or anything like that. But this part does take a little bit. It's gonna actually be fairly time consuming, but it's worth it because you get some really good items from this stuff that's gonna come in really handy really soon. And I think actually after I obtain the mithril, I drive right past the weapons dealer and I completely forget to pick up Great Gospel. So that's my bad. There's also something that you can go back for. I recommend going back for this as soon as you get Kate Sith in your party and you're able to, because I think once you get Kate Sith in your party, that's when you find all the people killed in the Gold Saucer and you have to do the whole side quest with Barrett and Dine in the Coral Prison. Once that's over, though, that's actually when you obtain the buggy. After you get out of Coral Prison, you obtain the buggy. Once you get out of Coral Prison, that's when I recommend doing this, because after you get Kate Sith, you have the Manipulate materia, and with the Manipulate materia, when you head back to the Junian area and the Fort Condor area, you're actually able to obtain a new enemy skill that's very, very useful. So you may be wondering what's down this way, because every time I've been in Junian Harbor, I didn't fully explore. I didn't go down that street. You actually can't get there because there are Shinra soldiers drilling there. That's the way to the underwater reactor, which doesn't come into play at all until quite a bit later in the story. Anyway, so basically, we stow away on the Junian ship. We got to run all the way through Junian, go all the way back to the area in Junian Harbor where we were outfitted as soldiers, right here. We were kind of dragged into a soldier's uniform and forced to participate in Rufus's welcoming ceremony. Once you're here, you can take the elevator down to or is it an elevator up? I believe it's the elevator down into the old Junian town where we saved that girl from Bottomswell, the giant fish monster thing. And that'll allow you to just exit. And once you exit, if you drove the buggy into Costa del Sol, once you exit this area, you'll have the buggy on you. And you actually need that because the area that we're going to right now, in order to talk to the sleeping man of Junian, he's not available without some way to cross over the river. So either the tiny Bronco or the buggy will work for this. It takes a while. It's a lot of backtracking, and it would have been a lot faster if I used the tiny Bronco, but I did want to show you guys that it's accessible when you get the buggy, and especially because, like I said, it would probably be better just to do this right after you get out of Coral Prison and you have Kate Sith. And you don't have to have Kate Sith in your party, just make sure you utilize the Manipulate materia that he has equipped on him. You don't get a Manipulate materia until you meet Kate Sith. He's got the first Manipulate materia in the game. So this enemy skill is one that, once again, just like Big Guard, here's the river we have to cross right here to get to the Sleeping Man. Just like Big Guard, the enemy will never cast it on you because it's a beneficial spell. So it'll only cast it on itself, if at all. So we don't want to do that. Actually, these guys, the big guy in this group right here is the guy that casts it, and I think I forget to get it in this battle, but I'll get it in a minute. So the enemy skill that you can learn from them is White Wind, and it's a heal all spell that always heals the exact amount of health that the current person casting the spell has. So if Cloud has 1000 HP and he casts White Wind, it's going to heal the whole party for exactly 1000 HP. But it also removes all negative status effects from the entire party as well. So it's not only a heal all for varying amounts of life, but it's also an Isuna all, which can come in very, very handy. There's a really nice combination of putting the enemy skill materia with White Wind on somebody who also has a ribbon attached, and a ribbon is an accessory we'll get later that prevents all status effects from occurring on that character. And as long as that happens, no matter what status effects are inflicted on your party, that person can always heal the entire party of all status effects, so they're going to be immune to them and won't be like silenced or confused or whatever. But anyway, we talked to him. He says something about materia, so I'm just going to go ahead and time skip. And what you have to do, he says I fought 531 times, so I have to get into 2 battles, come back and talk to him. I time skipped right there, but what you want to do if he's not saying the right thing is leave and then come back, and then he'll say something else. So just keep re-rolling that. So, alright, yeah, so we got to the odd increment, and he gave him Mithril, or he gave me Mithril, rather. So we're going to go ahead and get into another 11 battles. I time skipped all over this. I just cut this up because it was honestly just me grinding on low-level enemies. But anyway, here we run into the I believe it's called Zemzelet, something like that. But this is the guy that casts White Wind, so go ahead and manipulate him. And if you're having a hard time getting the manipulate to work, manipulate is just like steal, where its chances of succeeding are rolled off of your level versus the enemy's level. So the best way to make sure that it succeeds is to just put manipulate on your highest level character, usually Cloud. Anyway, boom, we got White Wind on both of our enemy materias now, and now we can just kill this guy. And that's me getting 11 battles. Go ahead and talk to him again, and we're going to obtain the Bolt Ring. Fucking baller. Bolt Ring is a great item that, like I said, is going to come in very, very handy during Yuffie side quest. It's actually only for 1 battle, but it's the boss battle of the whole side quest, so you'll actually really want that. It's very, very useful. As of now, all we've really gotten are accessories that do things like buff our stats or make us immune to certain status effects. And around this point in the game, we start to get some slightly more powerful accessories that are just way, way better. Bolt Ring is one of my favorite ones, just because, you know, it completely nullifies a pretty common attacking element. And actually, if you have that before you go to Rocket Town and meet Sid, if you do it right after you get the buggy, you can use that against Palmer, and then Palmer's Mako gun, I think, deals either ice, fire, or bolt or lightning damage. And if he casts lightning damage on you, it's just going to completely eliminate one of his attacking types. It's totally random whether or not it's going to come in handy. But anyway, we get back to Junior. We got to go all the way back. I know this is a pain in the ass, but unfortunately, I don't even know what I was talking about during the original commentary, but unfortunately I didn't cut out any of this, and I kind of just left this in. And if I cut all this out, the part where I just like run back through Junior and cross the ocean again on the ship and all that, then the episode would only be like, I don't know, like 20, like it would end up being like 25 minutes long, and it would just be extra short. But we're basically just going to spend the rest of the episode heading back through where we came. Once again, I'm going to forget to exchange the Mithril for Eris's final limit break at the weapons trader, which is the whole point of me even waiting to do for the Tiny Bronco to do this. But we're basically going to start making our way back to where we left the Tiny Bronco, which is right outside Nibelheim. And after that, we're going to head over to the next... Well, actually, no, I think I sign off before we do that. I think the episode ends before that happens, but... Anyway, so that's pretty much the end of the episode. It's just going to be me going back. So I guess we could take some time to talk about Final Fantasy XIV. I just started playing. I've only got about 2 hours logged into it. It seems pretty interesting so far. Anybody who's thinking about picking it up, I will say that I've so far had my video driver, crash twice trying to play it. I'm playing it on PC, not PS3, obviously. But my video driver has twice crashed playing it, and once the game just hard crashed. So apparently the video driver crashing issue was a major problem that made the initial launch so buggy and terrible. Final Fantasy XIV has been out for a while, for those of you who don't know, and like Final Fantasy XI, it's an MMO. and it was a massive failure. A lot of people didn't even know it came out because nobody was talking about it. It was plagued with hardware issues. It was plagued with just non-functioning network issues. It was just horrible. So they actually decided to redouble their efforts, rebrand, and completely relaunch the game. And now it's being sold under the name Final Fantasy XIV, A Realm Reborn. So anybody who's looking for an MMO to play, I can't really speak much to the gameplay mechanics, but I can say that the controls are fairly nice, and the game looks fucking beautiful. The music is also really, really good. I have to say, the music reminds me a lot, rather, of Final Fantasy IX for some reason. I don't know if it's still the same composer or whatever. I haven't looked up, like, you know, the credits or anything, but whoever's working on the music is doing a great job. And like I said, it reminds me a lot of Final Fantasy IX, which had some really, really great music, and it kind of, you know, has the same medieval setting as Final Fantasy IX. There are some, you know, art style elements that kind of carry over as well, which is nice. It's kind of got that colorfulness that Final Fantasy IX had. It's really a really great game. Oh, and one thing we do here in Costa del Sol before we leave is I think I stopped by the bar here because there's a certain character here that I forgot to talk to last time I was here. Those of you who have been watching this from the beginning, who saw us do the cross-dressing scene, may remember this guy. It's Mookie! Except I talked to the wrong guy, apparently. Hold on. It's Mookie! I really like this town. You walk around nearly naked and no one looked twice at you. So, for those of you who don't remember Mookie's sitting there with his bros at the bar. Mookie was the guy who, when we were doing the cross-dressing scene in Walmart, we went to the Honeybee Inn and ended up in a bathtub with about 15 sweaty dudes. Mookie was kind of the ringleader, the one that wanted me to join his Young Bubbies Club, and him and his friends appear there, then maybe in Wutai, and I think at Icicle Inn later in the game, a place called Icicle Inn. So he just kind of like shows up at bars at random places throughout the game, which I always thought was really funny. But here I'm just cutting out all the different, you know, assorted battles. But I think during that battle I learned Vincent's level 2 limit break, and like I said before, Vincent only has 4 limit breaks. So as soon as you get that level 2 limit break, you can switch over to it without worrying about missing out on something. And rather than the Galleon Beast, we got Death Gygus, who, you know, we'll see him later. We don't get to see him during this episode or even the next one. Or the next one, I think. I think I actually end up taking Vincent out of my party. But Death Gygus is interesting, kind of like how Galleon Beast has a fire elemental attack, so you kind of want to be careful about who you use it against. Death Gygus similarly has a lightning elemental attack, so you kind of want to be careful about that. And Sid, on the other hand, Vincent learns his limit breaks very, very quickly. Sid, on the other hand, is kind of annoying because he's the last character you get, and you don't get him until... I mean, we only just got him, and we've already been playing the game for a long-ass time, but his limit breaks take a while to learn considering you get him so late in the game. It seems like they were a little bit more lenient with, like, Kate, Sith, and Vincent, who you also get pretty late in the game. They were like, okay, well, you get them late in the game. You can just learn the limit breaks pretty quickly. Not true with Sid, but anyway, guys, that's going to be it for episode 24. We're just about ready to get started on Yuffie side quest, which will be next episode. And yeah, once again, next episode is going to return to the regular live commentary. I do believe the audio is actually good for that one. I could be wrong. If not, then that's definitely true of episode 26. But thanks for watching. See you guys next time. Goodbye.